Hi, this is Tanya from My Fancy Design Shop. I am here today to show you how I use my dark edge blender and my highlight blender in my new watercolor lettering brush set. Originally I listed it with 7 brushes. I just updated it to include 4 more. So you have the monoline watercolor, the dark edge blender, highlight blender, and a 3rd splatter stamp. Today I'm just going to show you how I use my dark edge blender and highlight blender. Now if you're not familiar with my brushes, or if you haven't seen my, part 1 of this set to explain how to use them, my watercolor brush already has the dark edge, the texture, the highlight, and water stains built into it. So it cuts out of a lot of steps in building this in Procreate. But now I have the 2 blenders that will help darken the edges and lighten the insides if you choose so. Now this is completely optional. You don't have to use them, but if you want a more distinct contrasting color, this will help. Okay, so you want to start with your lettering. You make sure you have all your exit and entrance strokes smoothed out, your texture added, your color is blended. Now what you want to do is add a layer above your lettering layer. You're going to click on the N, hit contrast and overlay. Choose your color black. And what this does is when you use your brush, no matter where you go, it's just going to darken that color. That's what overlay does. So this way you don't have to look for a darker blue, a darker pink. It just kind of cuts out that little step as well. So you want to click on your lettering layer, hit select, click on your top layer that you just added, and you know what, let's name that dark edge. Okay, so let's redo that again. Select, hit dark edge layer. You're going to hit the paintbrush. You're going to grab your dark edge blender. I keep the opacity pretty low. This is about 29%. My size is about 6%, but play around with it, see what works for you. And what you're going to do is very lightly color along the edge. And the reason why we select the lettering layer and then tap on our new layer and to draw on that is wherever we draw, it's only going to stay on the lettering, but in a different layer. So it's very easy to fix mistakes if it happens, and you don't have to erase the whole thing and start over. Sometimes when areas overlap, I'll darken these little edges there, and okay. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Watercolor isn't. And watercolor is definitely not uniform. So don't worry if you're not completely clean with it. Okay, let's darken these. Okay. Let's do a little bit more here. All right, so I'm going to show you the difference now for what this does. Let me zoom in a little. Okay. So this was our lettering before. This is our lettering with a dark edge. Can you see the difference? It's not drastic, but it's just enough. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit more of a highlight. Now there's 2 ways that you can do this. You can continue with an overlay layer, which I'm going to add a new one, name that highlight, click on the N, contrast overlay. Now to do this, you need your color white. Click on lettering, click on the highlight layer, paintbrush, grab the highlight blender. Again, my opacity is a little bit lower, it's about 72%. My size is a little bit bigger at 10%. Again, choose what looks good for you. It also is going to depend on your canvas size. But you just want to go in the middle, lightly color in some areas where you want the highlight or lighter color. Again, be creative with it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. All right. There you have it. So this is our original with the edge and with the highlight. So let's show you the difference here in the highlight. You see how much it brightens it up? Another option is just to make a layer that's normal and just using white on top of it. So if you do that, it's still going to whiten it up. It might just be a little bit brighter and less of the color. You see that difference? And this is the overlay one. Not a huge difference, but it really depends on what you want to do. But that's it. So all we did, and took about 5 minutes for just 3 words. You just made sure you work in different layers so it's easy to erase or delete or start over on a certain part. And you just build on top of it. So we added the dark edge, added the highlight. Again, if you want to do a drop shadow, you're going to duplicate your lettering layer, make sure the alpha lock is on, fill that, drop it to the side, turn off alpha lock, do a Gaussian blur, about 10%, click on your lettering, select, hit your black lettering, clear, hit your arrow, bring it further down, the magic wand, opacity, bring down the opacity, so it just looks like a very light shadow, and that's going to give it some dimension too. But there you go. Let me just show you. I'm going to merge a few of these two to show you a big difference, or a quick difference. So this is before. We're going to keep the drop shadow there without using the blenders, and this is after. Before, after. So if you have any more questions, you can send me a message via Instagram or Etsy. I would love to help you out. And also, I would love to see your designs. So make sure to tag me on social media at My Fancy Design Shop. And thanks again. Enjoy.